how do you deal with major fears of abandonment? You laughed. The thing is, this can bother and be part of a relationship in general. It can be a big problem if you have fears of abandonment, and they're difficult to deal with. This is Reid from readaboutsex.com.
And this is Cathy from theintimacydojo.com, who's now holding the arm of my chair.
So he can't leave.
All right, what do you got?
So when we have fears of abandonment, there's jealousy becomes a big issue. If I'm afraid someone's going to leave,
then you're jealous of anyone who might take him away.
Or anything that distracts the attention becomes a threat. And a lot of the fears of abandonment formed when we were very young. And most of our society teaches you to solve that problem. Well, I'm just actually doing this for the video, but is to hold on tighter.
Just for the
You can go away.
No.
They teach you to hold on tighter and to blame your partner. Like, how did you look at that person? Why did you spend so much time looking at that person or talking with that person?
My chair's falling down. I'm short now. This is...
Should we start again?
No.
Okay.
They love this stuff. I mean, I think you love it. Maybe not.
Leave comments below.
Yeah.
So in our society, we blame our partner or we blame the other person for not spending more attention and time with us. And we can sometimes blame the person or the thing that was distracting them. So she should know better than to pull your attention. We're in the middle of something or we're working on something. The truth is, our feelings are our own to deal with, and there are ways to deal with fears of abandonment, so we're not clinging so tight.
Like what?
Well, instead of turning just to the person we want to hold on to, which is normal, like little kids see they have one person they want to turn to, and our society does teach people to look to one person. That's like, Prince Charming or Princess Charming is going to come and make everything better. That's really common. But there's no way to solve fear of abandonment in a dual place, because someone could always go away. They could get sick, they could die, there's always something that could happen. So it really means needing to connect with a bunch of people and learning to have a circle of support, having people around you that can be there for you. There's no way to solve it by holding on tighter. It's not going to make any difference, because you're always going to still fear losing that person. They could leave. And that fear of abandonment is often about feeling like you can't survive by yourself. And again, that's almost always started when we were really little.
Can I jump in here? From my lower position here, looking up at Cathy. I think another thing, and again, we're not psychologists, nor do we play psychologists on television. What I have noticed is in a situation where you see children who have a healthy amount of independence from their parents versus ones that cling, versus ones that are just fucking they have an unhealthy non-attachment. What's interesting for me is looking at abandonment issues and where they got generated. And for most people, it's usually around early childhood stuff, although you'll meet people whose abandonment issues happen when they're in adolescence or as adults because of that first love relationship or something like that. Or somebody, basically dies unexpectedly and there's a kind of this PTSD type grieving abandonment thing that happens. But for me, when you look at where things got anchored and reparenting yourself, then there starts to become a distinction between I need people because I'm social. I'm a social
humans
creature.
Need people.
Yeah, I'm a primate. Versus I'm going to die if this person takes their attention off of me.
Right. And I worked with a lot of people on this issue, and a lot of them can relate it to when they were very little. Our primitive brain is looking for safety, the part of our survival brain. And when we're really, really little, we can't survive without the attention of the people around us. We need mom and dad to pay attention, or whoever our caregiver is. We need that attention, because if they don't, we're either eaten by hyenas, or we starve to death, or we choke on something. We literally need that to survive. And a lot of us didn't necessarily get it in the way we wanted to have it. Our parents may have done their best, but...
And wanting being from a 6-month-old perspective?
Yeah, a
or
very small
1-year-old?
child. Like, our parents didn't always do the best. Like, they did the best they could, but they didn't necessarily meet all of our needs. Sometimes our parents' takes were really low at the time, and they're doing their
Or
best.
they were just fucked up parents.
Yeah. Or they didn't even understand how...
Or they were hyenas. If your parents were actually hyenas, then that explains a lot.
That's why you get the low chair. And I was reading a book on boundaries.
That's fun. That's why I get the low chair. Okay, continue.
I was reading a book on boundaries, and he said something that made a lot of sense to me. It's like small children that have had their support and attachment and attention needs met are very adventuresome. They'll like go like little when they're first learning to go away from the parent, to say no and to set a boundary and to like travel like around the room without the parent. It's an adventure. It's exciting for them, and they definitely look back and make sure mom or dad are still there, and they go in and check in. But it becomes an adventure. Whereas children that haven't had that, it's terrifying. And I see that. I notice it in myself sometimes compared to other people. Like, new things are really scary for me sometimes, whereas for other people it's like this really exciting adventure. And we can go back and heal those old wounds. And having a circle of people that can be there for us can help ease the terror. Because if we're really, really scared of being abandoned, we're not thinking cognitively. We're not thinking with our adult brain. We're thinking with our survival brain, who remembers when we were 3 and we might have been choking on, our thumb or whatever, and no one was there. So, letting the adult brain come out.
So what are some of the tools that you would advocate for getting people back into their adult brain and not stuck in some fugue state from being 3?
Yeah, getting support, like especially if it's a deep trauma like that where you're really not feeling present, getting support is really important because the fear happened in isolation and it's really hard to heal it in isolation.
And like what kind of support?
A coach or a therapist.
So professional support.
Yeah. And getting friends, having more friends so you know that you won't be alone. Spending the time even when it doesn't feel like your primitive brain may be going, that person is who you need to have. But it's not necessarily true. It's like that's part of that's early programming. I love meditation, emotional freedom techniques is something I use a lot where you can actually tap on the issue and help ease it. So you're working on the early fears so you're not reacting from that 6-month-old. So as an adult, if my really good friend who I adore spending time with doesn't want to spend time with me, I can be disappointed.
Or just fell in love and is now cocooning with the person, their soulmate.
Yes.
And now is not taking your calls.
Yes. It can be disappointing and sad, but it doesn't have to feel life-threatening. So when there are deep fears of abandonment, it really does feel life-threatening. And, I have so much compassion and understand how terrifying it can feel. So if you can, get some support and start realizing that this is an old fear that is no longer true. As an adult, you're not...
Because you're actually an adult now.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. And where can people go to find support? Because I know you do this kind of stuff. Don't come to me for this. I'm the wrong person. I will send you...
Your advice is usually get over it.
No, like go to the zoo and pet a hyena.
I'm not going to give him the tall chair back.
That's why I get the short chair.
Yeah. We do a lot of work on this on thrivingnow.com, where we work with the primitive brain and early childhood traumas. And we use emotional freedom techniques and have had really, really good success with a lot of people on them.
Leave some comments below and go to thrivingnow.com. Trust me on this one. It's way better than being attacked by hyenas. Or getting the short chair.
Wow, that's an amazing testimonial.
That is. Leave your comments below. Abandonment issues, jealousy, that kind of stuff. It's human.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be your fate.